Hi everyone, Barry here from Mitosu Crafts, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based here in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for the Stamp Around UK video hop. The theme for this month is texture, and I have decided to use the Thanks and Hello embossing folders, which is these ones right here. So you get two types here, one which has got thanks in it and one which has got hello in it. And you also get it in various different languages in here as well. I know obviously we've got French and there's going to be German in there, and please tell me what other languages you may see in there as well in the comments down below. I would love to know what some of these actually are. So if you can read those, let us know what other languages are in there. But obviously there is some of the bigger ones are some of the more common thanks and hello sentiments. So that's what these embossing folders are right here. So they are nice small embossing folders designed to fit through the mini machine, quite nice. They obviously will go through the larger machine as well. All products you see us using, links can be found down below in the description if you would like to purchase anything from us. So if you live in the UK, France, Germany, Netherlands or Austria, you can shop with us via our online shop. Please remember to use the current host code if you do shop with us. That can be found over at mitosucrafts.com. Changes each month. It just allows us to send you a little thank you every month as well. Also, remember to give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying what you are seeing, and also please consider subscribing to our channel as well for future video releases if you would like to see more of what we create. But with that, I'm going to crack on and show you two cards today with texture with the thanks and hello embossing folders. So sit back, relax, have fun, enjoy, and let's crack on. Okay, so for the first card, this one's really simple. All you're going to need is a piece of basic white thick for your card base, measuring 14.6 by 21, and we're going to score it at 10.5. We're going to need a bit of Daffodil Delight here, measuring 9.5 by 13.6. A bit of basic white normal, which is 9 by 7.6, and a bit of designer series paper, 9 by 5.7. I've decided to use the Pansy Petals designer series paper pack for this one. This is actually an offcut from a previous card which I made, which is great. I love it when we can use offcuts, and that's what I am using. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my designer series paper to my Daffodil Delight cardstock. Just going to pop that to one side to let that dry, and then I'm going to then emboss this piece right here. So the 9 by 7.6 I'm going to emboss with the Hello embossing folder. I'm going to be using the mini for this one right here. So I've got my mini machine. I'm going to be using plates number, let's have a little look. So using with standard embossing folders, so plates number 1 and plates number 3, which is going to be these two right here. And I'm just going to position this where I want it to be. Obviously I want the English hello here to be the more prominent one, so I'm going to make sure I position that in a way where it's definitely going to show up. And there we have it. So that's now been run through the machine, and then when we take it out, that there is what that looks like. I think it's really pretty. It's nice and detailed. It's a really nice piece. You can see I've used a scrap bit of paper here as well, which is perfect, which is fine. So that's that. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to stick this now to the base of this Daffodil Delight part. So I'm going to stick that down. So that's that part done right there for you. I'm just going to cover up the join now with some ribbon. So I've got this lovely yellow gingham style ribbon right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snip a little bit down here to the side, and then I'm going to attach it around the back with some tear and tape. And there's not much really else needed for this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold and burnish my card base, stick that onto my card base like so. I think the sentiments, the hello is prominent enough on there. If you want to add another sentiment, or you can colour it. If you are going to colour it with blends, though, be careful with the bleeding, because it may bleed and then bleed out. So which is why I haven't done that, but you can give it a try, and just to highlight your sentiment. I'm just going to add some embellishments on this one. So I have got here the what are these called? Just get them out. The loose flower flourishes. Bit of a tongue twister there for you. And I'm going to take a couple of these and I'm going to just put some glue dots down. So I've got my glue dots. I'm going to grab my take your pick tool. And I'm going to pop one on the center of the back one, of the big one. So I'm using these and I'm using them in the, so this will be polished pink. So one in the center there. One like that. And I'm just going to then fold one of these over in half. Then pop that on one of the smaller ones. So this is now just adding even more texture. There we have it. So there is card number 1 using the Hello embossing folder. Gives you some nice texture on that card. So that's a really simple card there for you. So what I'm going to do now for the second card, I'm going to just, it's very similar to it, but I'm going to be embossing now some vellum. So you may have seen a previous video we've done where I did these alcohol ink backgrounds. So this was the card I actually made for one of our live videos. So if you want to see this, I will pop the link to this video. Is going to be up in the top right here right now, and you can then see how I actually made this background. But whilst I was doing it, whilst I did that video, I had obviously some spare vellum left over, and vellum and embossing folders work well with each other as well, so they are great for embossing. So I had some here which I have got the gold leafing going through it as well. So let's show you the bits which you need. So grab yourself your card base again. So this is exactly the same as last time. Card base 14.6 by 21, score it in half at 10.5. I have now got myself a piece of basic white plain here, which is 9 by 13.1. I've got myself a bit of scrap here. This is going to be for my sentiment. I've got my piece here, which has got my set for my designer series paper again, so 9 by 5.7. That's going to go on like this. And I've got myself a bit of vellum here, which was measuring 9 by 7.2. They're just big enough so that they overlap a little bit as well. And what I want to do on this one is I want them to be exactly the same size, because the vellum pieces here work better when it's matted on a bit of white cardstock. It shows the colours through a little bit, and you've got the texture on here as well with that gold leafing. So if you want to see how I did that, just go back and check out the video if you would like to. So it's the same layout as previously. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick the designer series paper down onto this piece right here, and I'm just using the basic white is just a carrier here. It's going to allow me to pop a ribbon around it as well, like I did with the first card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then run this one through the embossing folder. So I'm going to be using the Thanks for this one. Now, if you are going to be doing this technique with the glue on here with the gilded leafing, just be aware that it will stick to your embossing folder. So it won't damage it, but it will get a little bit sticky. So just something to be aware of. So I'm just going to position that in place where I want that to be. Pop the Thanks where I need, where I'd like it. And I'm going to run that through the machine again like I did with the first one. And there we have it. So that's the piece which I've just done. So you can see there with the vellum, it just gives this nice white. So a bit like parchment craft. It's very, very nice. Obviously, this is the back side of it, and that's the other side. When you've got some inking on there, it obviously just dulls it down a little bit, but I think it just really, really adds some nice texture with the gold leafing going through it, and the embossing and the white just adds some really nice texture to this. So that's that part there. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to then stick this to this. So I'm actually going to use some of the Stampin seal. Okay, so once you put some Stampin' Seal on the back of that, just position this in one of the top corners and then position it down. And then if you've cut this all to the correct size, when you bring it across, it will all fit in place. Stampin' Seal works well on these pieces when you've got the embossing and you've got colour on it, because it doesn't show through as much if it's got the texture is hiding the glue. I wouldn't use wet glue for this, it will show through. So, but your Stampin' Seal all the way around, you can then position that quite nicely on there like that. Okay, so once you've got that part done, we can then, if we want to, we can add some ribbon. So I've got some of this ribbon right here, just to cover up this, just to cover this up right here. So I can either use that one, or should I use the, I might actually use that solid one again, just so it actually covers that join up quite nicely. And the same thing, I'm going to do this and stick this down with my tear and tape. And there we have that one. Okay, so go ahead and stick this now to your card base. And then just pop that to one side to set up whilst we then do the sentiment. Okay, so grab yourself your scrap piece of paper. So the sentiment I'm going to be using here is the little things you do make such a big difference. I think this was, I thought this was quite a nice sentiment for a thank you card. And I will just stamp this down with Memento. So Tuxedo Black Memento. And I'm going to be using the Stitched So Sweetly dies. And I'm going to be using this one right here. So you've got these really nice scalloped and stitched edging right here, and you've got these nice patterns, and that fits that sentiment really nicely. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pop that through my embossing machine, and I'm going to cut that out right now. Okay, so that's that one right there. So what all I need to do here now is I need to just grab my card, and I'm going to stick this down. So I'm going to pop this onto some dimensionals, but before I do that, I will just finish this off with one of these gems right here. So I've got those loose flower flourishes. Once again, I'm going to take a glue dot, and I'm just going to take these out for a moment. What I want to do is I want to just snip this one in half, just to see whether or not I can get it a little bit smaller. So I've now just made that glue dot half the size, and then using my take your pick tool, I will then just fold that in half again. So that just makes it even smaller. So for the back side of these plastic embellishments, so if you really want to hide it, you just do a tiny bit here. Grab that, and then I'm just going to then stick that bottom middle down the bottom down there. You'd never know that was done by a glue dot. And then we will then pop some dimensionals and pop it on the back right here. So if you're wondering why we pop lines on our dimensionals like this, it's just a nice easy way of identifying what ones we have and haven't taken the backing papers off of. So easy to identify. And then I will then just stick that middle like that. And there we have it. There is the second card, which has got some texture on the top right here. You've got, if you want to, you've got texture on your ribbon, you've got your texture with your stitched dies, and you've got your texture here with your embellishment in the middle. So there we have it. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Remember, this is a video hop, so be sure to hop down with everyone down below. So their links to everyone else's videos can be found down below in the description as well. Go and have a little look at what else everyone else has made with the theme of texture. It's going to be interesting to see what all of our take is on this. I think it's an interesting subject, and I think there's going to be some amazing ideas for your cards as well. So yes, please be sure to go and check out everyone else in the video hop. So thank you very much for joining me for today and the Stamp Around UK video hop. These are my 2 cards here, using the thanks and hello embossing folders to create some simple texture on your cards. Thank you so much for joining me. Have fun, and I will see you again very soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.